Hello, and welcome to this review of the film Old by the director M. Night Shyamalan. You may know him from his cult classic thrillers such as Sixth Sense or Signs, and you may also know him as a director of outstanding works of art such as The Last Airbender and After Earth starring Will Smith. I think that was a career performance for Will Smith. Moving on, as far as Old is concerned, I'll start off with the premise for those of you who are unfamiliar. So essentially, there's this family, and they go to this resort, and it's all like fun and games. And they're like, oh, it's a resort. And there's some old guy, and he's like, yo, we want to see this random beach. It's like hella secluded. And they're like, yo, let's go. And essentially, the family and a bunch of other random people are like selected to go to that beach. And they just go to that beach, and they're just chilling on the beach. And they're like, beach. Fun times. And then it's like, ooh, but when they stay on the beach, every second that passes, they be getting older. Ooh. And yeah, that's the whole premise essentially, right? Sounds pretty interesting, right? But getting to the actual film is a bit more complicated. I'd say as far as the actual movie goes, the movie starts out pretty strong, and from a technical perspective is pretty well done. Like the physical camera movements, the shots, the framing, everything's pretty up to par as you'd expect from an experienced director like Shyamalan. The acting, it's alright. It's a bit stiff at times, and some characters are supposed to be acting a certain age, but they don't really pull it off so convincingly. The biggest problem with the movie, in my opinion, is the writing. The movie reads like it was written by like a high schooler at best. I'd say an 8th grader, really talented, one of those creative writing 8th graders, could have pulled this off. The dialogue is tacky, horny. It sounds like something that you'd read an 8th grader write, essentially, right? It's how they think that people talk, but that's not really how people talk or interact. And I mean, I've seen this, like, I feel like this is an issue with a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's movies. Like, the biggest flops, like, after The Last Airbender, like, the writing is beyond awful. Like, the fact that Shyamalan thinks people actually talk like that is truly astounding. Like, a lot of the time, the writing is, like, so bad in that way that it's unintentionally funny. Because it's like, why would somebody in this situation say this? Like, I don't think this is spoiling anything, but in the early acts of the movie, there's this guy, and his wife is having a seizure. Like, she is literally on the ground having a seizure. And he's just casually, just like, yeah, whatever, the average day. I don't know if Shyamalan intended that to be like, oh, look at this guy. He knows his wife's gonna have a seizure, so he's just chill with it and calm. Or if the guy is just unintentionally written to just be there, like, just vibing while his wife's having a seizure. And I mean, like, that ambiguity in itself lends to that scene being hilarious. Now, getting back to the actual, like, analysis of the movie, like, part by part, let's say, the first 2/3, I'd say, are a pretty solid movie. First 2/3, first and second act of the movie, right? It's interesting, and you're like, I'm interested to see where he takes this, right? So you're sitting there and watching the movie, and you're like, oh, let's see where this goes, right? Because, I mean, M. Night Shyamalan, what is he known for, right? Like, Signs, Sixth Sense, right? The big twist, right? That's his, like, trademark directorial stamp that you know it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, where there's, like, the big reveal or the big twist, like, unbreakable, like, split. Literally, it's, like, his trademark. And it's just missing in this movie. There's no reveal. There's nothing. It's an incredibly predictable movie. The final act, like, if you don't see that coming, then, like, how many movies have you watched? It's probably the most predictable, like, by the numbers ending I've ever seen in a Shyamalan movie. Not that, like, I'm not including, like, After Earth, or, like, I don't even think I've seen After Earth, or, like, Last Airbender. Like, nah. I'm talking about, like, his actually, like, decent movies. Like, we can include The Village too if you want. I thought it was pretty decent, but, like, this movie sus. Is not an ideal ending. I think it was really a letdown, TBH. And I mean, overall, I feel like that's my biggest gripe with the movie, right? Like, technically, it was a pretty solid movie, right? I feel like there was grounds for a way better movie there, right? But for some reason, Shyamalan decided with this movie, he was just gonna go with the most by-the-numbers movie ever. But yeah, without the, like, Shyamalan trademark twist, I feel like the movie's just missing, like, that spark that would, like, set it over. I feel like it was a decent watch. Like, if you go to the theater and watch it, you're not gonna come out and be like, wow, that was terrible. I'll remember that movie for how bad it was for the rest of my life. It's not like The Last Airbender or something, where it, like, desecrated a loved franchise. But I was expecting a bit more, I guess. I mean, I wasn't expecting a bit more. I wasn't expecting anything. It's M. Night Shyamalan. what I was doing was I was hoping there would be more. I was hoping it would be a better movie. I was hoping that my boy Shyamalan could deliver a watchable product. I guess he did, because it is watchable, right? I'm not gonna like say this is an unwatchable movie. It was beyond the worst movie I've ever seen. But the ending was very by the numbers. The part where Shyamalan tries to ham up the horror and he's like, ooh, scary. It plays off terribly. It's not scary. It's hilarious. It's actually so funny. The like horror segments of the movie, they're just unintentionally hilarious. But yeah, all in all, it was a pretty entertaining film. I'll give it that much. Like, I think it was entertaining. I watched it. I enjoyed it. But if I were to like recommend it to a friend, would I? No. But if my friend were saying, should I watch this movie or go to G.I. Joe? Then I would tell him, go watch Old, bro. Just go watch Old. It's not that bad. Maybe you'll get a couple of laughs out of it. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.